Hey everyone, it's Fab Jen. I'm back again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Marc Jacobs brushes and my first impressions today. So they are dirty, but I will have clips showing you what they look like cleaned and all that good stuff. So let's get started. So the first brush that I was dying to have, one of the first brushes, was the bronzer brush. I heard a lot of good things about it, and here it is. It's absolutely just attractive looking brush. I mean, the bristles are symmetric. Everything is smooth. It looks like a little egg on a little pedestal. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful. It's just a good looking brush. Yes, I know it's cheesy. Well, why should a brush be good looking? A brush needs to be good looking, good quality, and feel good in the hand. And this is one of those brushes. However, I don't like the fact that this isn't engraved into the metal, and it potentially can fade off, so I might have to do something to alter that. But it feels great in the hand. It is a little bit lighter than what I was expecting. I thought it'd be a little bit heavier. This feels like it is a heavy aluminum, higher quality aluminum metal. And I'm not saying that because, you know, a way it looks or anything, but basing on how it feels, I think it's some type of harder aluminum. All these brushes by Marc Jacobs are made in China. I want to put that out there. They are expensive, and I'm really surprised that they're made in China instead of like Japan or like Europe or somewhere like in France or something like that. But they are made in China. I read the box backward and forward, and I read other box. Trust me, they're made in China. So that was a disappointment because I don't like my higher end stuff to be made in China, but it's made in China. This brush I used to put my Mineralized Skin Finish by MAC and Dark Deep all over my face. It picked up the right amount of product. It deposited it lovely. It buffed it in lovely. It didn't overly shift my concealer and my color corrector, which was nice. It did shift a little right here, but nothing to the point where I'm like, oh, freak, I gotta go back and apply stuff. I didn't feel like I had to do that because everything just blended together. So this worked well. I love it. I love it. I love it. First impressions are good. None of these shed, and they dried normally. They dried pretty quick, but the only thing I didn't like was the fact that it feels a little bit, it feels weighted, but I wish it was a little bit more weighted, and I wish that it was engraved and it wasn't made in China. Yeah, I'm a picky bitch, I know. Jesus. Like, if I'm paying this kind of money, I don't want the motherfucker to be made in China. I'm just saying. So don't bust my balls about that. Anyway, I love Marc Jacobs. I'm a big Marc Jacobs fans, and I'm not trying to hate on it. I just don't want it to be made in fucking China. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so don't bust my balls on that. Don't bust my imaginary balls on that. Anyway, next brush here is let's do this one, because this was another brush that I really wanted. And this was the Face Brush 2, and again, it has that type of metal feel. It does feel weighted, and it has this really unique kind of thumb-like feature. It's really cool, and I used it today. As you can see, it's dirty, to blend in the liquid part of my foundation. It went on smooth, didn't leave streaks, buffed in nicely. I used a stippling motion and a swipe motion, a little bit of buff, and amazing. Just, it didn't overly eat product. I'm looking in the bristles right now, and I don't see any product down there, just at the tips. It's wonderful. I also, when I washed it, I put a little bit of shampoo at the tip and let it sit there, and I did notice that it stayed up top there for a little bit, which is a good sign. Means it's usually not going to eat up a lot of product. So I really enjoyed using this brush. I'm very happy about it, and that's the Face Brush 2. The next brush here that I was showing, looking pulled up before, this is the concealer brush number 14. And just a little finger brush where you can apply your concealer. I use this for concealer, I use this for color correcting, and I use this to do a little bit of light contouring on the face. It worked good with powder, it worked good with cream. I was very impressed how the coverage was. It didn't eat up a lot of product, so I was very happy about that. The reason it looks a hot mess like this because I used it 3 times with cream, with powder, and then back with cream again to do the contour. I wouldn't really use this for contouring my sides here unless I really want a precise line, but right here on the nose it did an excellent job, so I'm very happy about this. This is the least expensive of the bunch. Again, it feels nice and weighted. It's, you know, it's not a must-have. I think you can find other brushes by Sigma and Sedona that could do the same thing, but I did like how it applied the product thus far. Now, here's the one that is stinking balls right now. And I've heard and I read a lot of shitty things about this brush, and I decided to say maybe they might have changed the formula, or not the formula, but maybe have changed the manufacturing process and improved on this. But no, when I first got it, first of all, it feels the lightest of the bunch, and this is natural hair. Okay, so I was like, oh, it feels a little light. And when I was doing this with the brush, it shed several hairs. I was like, what the fuck? I said, okay. So then I washed it. There was the dye. There was a slight, animal hair smell. It wasn't like really stinky or anything. Just like, you know, what wet animal hair is going to smell like. The dye came out. It looked scary when it was wet. It looked like it would never bounce back again. So I re-washed it again and let it dry, and it went back to this shape. As you see, there's a lot of spray ends here, and there was and still is some shedding. And this is only the first time use, and it shed before I even washed it and used it. So I'm really pissed about this. So this might be one of those brushes that is probably going back. However, it did apply my blush very nicely today. It did apply my bronzer really nicely. If you like a natural bronze look, this is excellent. The blush, it picked up the right amount of blush, and it went on really smoothly. It didn't scratch my skin, but it's not the softest. Considering it's goat hair, it should be pretty decent softness, and it's okay. I'm hoping that maybe with maybe 2 more uses, maybe 3, it might improve. I'm not giving up hope just yet. And I will give you a final report on that when I do a final review on these brushes. So that is the blush brush, and that's brush number 10, I believe. That's what it looks like. My least favorite so far because of the shedding and the bleeding and the fact that it performs okay. I think there are plenty of blush brushes out there on the market that could do just okay, y'all. The last brush here is the Phase 1, and this is the number 1 brush, and it is supposed to kind of work just like this one, except this one's probably a little bit more precise. This one, when I washed it and put the shampoo or a baby shampoo on it, that's what I usually clean it with, or a soap bar, but I used shampoo this time. The shampoo went deep into the bristles, and that was not a good sign. So I'm curious how it works on liquid and cream. I don't think it'd be bad on cream, but I will want to see how it does in liquid. It's not as dense as this one. It's more of a loose, fluffy dense. So if you don't like them really dense, this one would be ideal for you. So that is the brush, and I will have close-ups of these like I mentioned before, and I will use that brush and see how it performs, and if it doesn't perform up to how I think it should perform for the price, I will be returning it. And I don't have a problem with returning something that isn't up to par in quality versus the price. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Again, I'm in the trial stages of trying these out. I need at least 2 weeks to really fully get an idea how I like to use these brushes and the quality and all that other stuff and how they wash and everything else like that. If you have any questions about the brushes, please feel free to ask. I will try to answer them the best I can. Again, rate, comment, subscribe if you like, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!